Hello, everybody. We're back. Controlled Chaos is back and live on the Hennessy Performance Racing League YouTube channel for the off-season going into Season 5. I'm Jim. Alongside me in the studio tonight, I have Mayhem tomorrow. Mayhem, how are you doing? Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And we also have FaZe Electric. Electric, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about y'all right now? Doing pretty cool.
Doing pretty well. And we also have the retired broadcaster himself, Code Red Do, also known as Jake. Jake, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just glad to get a chance to be up here with you gentlemen. Season 4 was crazy, but Season 5 is going to be really awesome. I can't wait for it.
Absolutely agree. And we may be joined in the booth by some team owners tonight. We might be joined by Alan and masopes. Don't know 100%. We'll keep you up to date on that. And Dalator might be jumping into the booth. So again, welcome. We are very excited to bring you Season 5's first Controlled Chaos. And in this podcast, we're going to be going over a little recap of last season's championships, regular season and postseason. We'll be talking about some off-season moves done by every team. Have some really interesting ones there. We'll do some special interviews with some team owners. Do some special interviews with some team drivers. And we'll be talking a little bit about what we might see, what's been confirmed to change this season. We have a couple of interesting changes with schedule and race lengths. So we'll start off with last season's champions. What y'all think about that? Our regular season champions, we had in the Truck Series, correct me if I'm wrong, we had Shake and Bake. We had Shake and Bake in the trucks. And then in Xfinity, we had Speed Racer and we had Heredia. So, Mayhem, I'm going to let you start off with that one. Anything surprising there to you from last season? Sorry to cut you off here, Mayhem, but it sounds like the stream cannot hear you. You might have to go check and see if your your voice is shared. So, yep. Well, in the meantime, I'll ask Electric. Electric, what do you think about last season in the Xfinity series? You had a pretty interesting season yourself.
Yeah, I know. I can tell you that the most surprising driver out of Xfinity was definitely Speed. I thought he was gonna basically almost stay the same, basically stay somewhere inside the top 5, but even try to reach there. But it's been overall it's been a bad season for what we used to have when we first joined here. Second season just couldn't get it going at all. So I mean it's but overall, the Xfinity group now versus what we had, I think last season is going to be um, a lot more, and I do believe we're going to have a lot more competition in there, and people going to have to actually start working for the wins now.
A lot of the chat is asking if you're going to be able to get that win. Last season you went winless, but the season before you had that win at Martinsville, and you had a win at you had somewhere. Was it Kentucky? You had another win somewhere,
No,
I think.
couldn't get it.
Only had one win. Okay, but still,
Yeah.
you're looking for that win in Season 5 here, and you're gonna have a steep challenge with some of the competition that's come up there with you. So. I'm going to loop back into Mayhem, though. Hopefully everybody can hear him. So say something. We'll see if the chat can hear you now, Mayhem. Maybe not. He might be gone. Well, anyways, we'll move on to the next person to weigh in on the regular season champions. Moving on to Jake. Jake, what are your thoughts on regular season champions? And we'll get to postseason champions later.
I would say the regular season champions, it was a lot of fun. I couldn't get a chance to see the Xfinity race, and I think I'm going to correct someone who said Speed Racer was the champion. I think it was Riley that was the champion for the Xfinity series.
For regular season.
Yeah, or for regular season, but I'm talking about But right now, I do believe that the champions were awesome. We have a lot of excitement in all three series. There's a lot of drivers I saw in all three series that have stepped up, and we'll talk about that later on. But I thought that as far as the racing wise, it was a lot of fun, especially for someone who was up in the booth. Great racing, a lot of drama. I mean, of course, you got to give props to Speed Racer, who just recently came back, who stepped up a lot, especially for Hendrick. I mean, for JRM, he improved. He really stepped up to the plate. Seems like it was like all JRM for the Xfinity series. Of course, the Truck Series, Shake and Bake, and of course, obviously with Cut being her radio god. Her radio was always probably one of the best drivers in there. I mean, Jim, you out of all people know because you raced with him. It just seems like every single year, each season, all these drivers have really improved themselves. I think we're about to see that here in season 5 as well.
Yeah, I could tell you that the JRM boys were just unbeatable. They had an unbeatable lineup, and whatever setups they were finding in their very long practices, they were hitting it right on the head, because Riley, Speed Racer, T-Bird, and McCarb were all up there, and it seems like virtually every single race. So they, you look at their roster, we'll look at it later, but their roster this season doesn't seem like there's going to be too much drop-off. They're still looking for one driver to fill in, but JRM was very stout last season in the Xfinity Series.
I will say this though, as far as like the battles, I was always really intrigued seeing Riley, Speed Racer, and T-Bird battling out. Those three, no matter what race it was, they've always shown not only respect for each other, but also how fun it was to watch them race. It didn't matter what battle it was. I mean, myself and Brody could tell you, these three really stepped up, especially for Riley being the first time. I think it was his first time being in the Xfinity Series. And even though he's no longer a Cup driver, he still showed everyone that he can race in any series, and he has really stepped up to the plate as well.
Mm-hmm. I think we're forgetting to mention, we talked so much about the Xfinity Series about last season, and I mean, it was a really good battle from JRM top to bottom, but we also look at the trucks. We had a great battle between Captain Jack and Shake and Bake, our champion, and that came down to basically the final two races, and a lot of people would argue that Cap Jack probably was going to win that worldwide technology race until the final couple laps where he started lagging really bad. So what do you think about all that? You think he would have had a shot if it weren't for that untimely lag?
As far as my point of view, I believe so, because to me, Captain Jack had the championship won in his hands if it wasn't for that situation at Gateway. Otherwise, I mean, we could have talked about him becoming the champion instead of Shake and Bake. But the one thing I will say this though, if there was one thing I was really impressed with Captain Jack, was that he was the only one that stepped up so much this season. He really improved himself, not only as a person, but also as a driver. You've seen that every race, his performance gotten better. It all started, especially when it comes down to the playoffs, when it comes to Atlanta. He showed how prepared he was for the championship. And, looking back, I mean, some people could say he should have won the race at Vegas. Others say won't. But I will say this, though. I'm going to give credit where credit's due, especially for Jack.
Yeah, it was a fantastic battle between those two, and they drive so clean. I mean, they are very experienced. Shake and Bake kind of surprised me because he hadn't been in anything other than a truck, so we kind of didn't know what to think about him a couple seasons ago. But he's won the championship back-to-back. He's won it in Season 4 and Season 3. So he is really showing his might and will be testing out new waters. Captain Jack will also, he was a Cup driver in Season 3, and he's proven that he's very clean and is one of the best on a long run, I feel. So those two, they some of the cleaner drivers in the league. Then, of course, we have to talk a little bit about the Cup Series, which really wasn't much of a competition between three guys as much as it was two. It was between Fistbuster and Heredia, but after Bristol, he kind of locked that one in. I feel like he was very, very fast there, won the race, and even though Fist was right behind him, it just was not enough. Heredia was able to grab that win and get the cushion he needed. I'll grab in Electric for this one. Did you watch the Cup race?
I probably watched it once or twice, and that was it.
It was your teammate that was able to come out victorious in that one. And was he? Did he ever talk to you about setup or anything, or was he kind of just on his own going into Vegas?
Nah, he was always on his own. We always wished him the best of going through that race, though, and glad he was able to come out with the championship for us.
Yeah, he drove that, his favorite driver, Brad Keselowski, he drove that car to victory lane and to championship victory lane in this beautiful PPG Ford Mustang. And it is one of the best looking cars. But that's off the topic. I have to weigh in on Heredia. We didn't see eye to eye the entire time. Bristol and Homestead come to mind, but I do believe he was easily, he won the regular season title, and he won the Cup season, like the postseason title. He deserved that championship, bar none. There was no doubt about it. Kind of like a home run grand slam, at Las Vegas. He set off on his way and left no doubt. So congrats to him. And now I think, do we have Mayhem yet?
Yeah, I should be good. I don't know
Okay.
why. Yeah, I've just been sitting here silently, but that's okay.
We have very poor technology, poor mics here in the booth, so we're working on a low budget. So is there anything you wanted to say about those regular season and postseason champions? We talked about Heredia, we talked about Riley, we talked about Shake and Bake, we talked about Speed Racer. Anything you want to say about any of these guys?
Well, I think this year was probably the best, top to bottom championship battles that we've had. You guys touched on all of them. All of them pretty much came down, with 3 races to go. Could have gone either way, and that's what you want to see. The competition level is definitely there, and the crazy thing is even with people switching, I don't feel like that's changed too much. I feel like there's still, a lot of contenders, especially in the Xfinity series, which we'll get to, but I think that's really what you want, in a league race setting, is to have that element of, you don't know who's going to win. There are 4 or 5 guys. Xfinity had, 5 or 6 guys that could have won the championship realistically walking in, and, and then it was literally tied going into the last race. And, the truck series was really great with just how great those guys raced, Shake and Captain Jack. Obviously, you guys talked about it, but those guys race so clean, and that's a great thing to see. And then on the Cup side, Heredia obviously races everybody with a lot of respect, and I think we saw a little bit of that determination from him after what had happened to him in season 3, and I think that came out a little bit of him. But for the most part, Fishbuster is one of the cleanest guys on the track, so it's really cool to not just see it be competitive, but, respectful too in that sense.
Yeah, I can see, I'm not trying to badmouth what the league was, but you can definitely tell that the talent and the cleanliness of drivers is on the up in Hennessy. Guys like Fistbuster joining, I thought with his name, I thought he would be a troll, but I was absolutely wrong. He's one of the cleanest guys every single week. Heredia is very clean. He's aggressive, but he's clean. And as much as we like to bash guys like Joker, clean. I mean, he puts blocks on people. It makes people mad, but he doesn't usually wreck people. So if he does, it's a complete accident. So I think Hennessy, and seeing some of the departures lately, it's getting cleaner. So it's getting
And
cleaned
that's
up,
what you
and
want,
admins are
right?
definitely
That's
doing
definitely
good.
what you're striving for. You just want to get a little better, and I think year one we had a great on track product, and right from the jump. But we're always looking to get better and add more people, and I think we've done that. We've added a couple of contenders this year. I think in a couple of series, and you know, we've got a great group of guys who, represent the league really well. And, as someone who's a league owner, that's, really, something that I'm really proud of, when I watch those broadcasts or, when I know people talk about us, nobody's bad mouthing the on track product. So,
Yeah,
you got to
and
be
rightfully
thankful for
so.
that.
No reason to. Well, I
Yes.
just got a message, and I think it's Jake. Did you want to say something about what I just said there?
Yeah, I mean something that not too many people really thought about was that we're all used to seeing Joker dominate in every season, but if you guys remember, he has not really won a single race. His first race of the season was actually back at Atlanta, so we didn't see the Joker that we're all known for him to see is dominating the Cup cars, but he has made a really impressive run, especially with a top three that we saw between Fistbuster and Joker and Heredia. I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with what Mayhem said. I mean, this was definitely an amazing top three that we saw, especially at Vegas. So, I mean, hopefully we'll get a chance to see the old Joker, him dominating, winning races left or right. But this was really weird to see him just actually finishing, maybe win about at least like a race or so.
Yeah, I think Joker, he was solid, but he was kind of like Denny Hamlin this season. He just wasn't able to get that win and break through out of the bad luck. I remember he had a chance at Iowa, and after moving a couple people himself, he received some of that same punishment when Heredia moved him in turn 4. But he turned it on, and all of HMS turned it on once they got to the I guess you call it the chase, not really the playoffs, but the postseason. He won the first 2 races, I believe. He won Atlanta and he won Watkins Glen, was it? It was one of
Yeah,
those.
it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he won those 2, and I mean, we saw Dolgen. Like where did he come from? We didn't really expect too terribly much from him in the regular season. Then he gets himself in the postseason, and he makes it. He makes the most of it. I mean, he was right there in the 5th to 6th spot, and really put on a good performance. I think he might have finished 4th in points, either 4th or 5th. But he had a really good postseason to close out season 4. Already asking for Dolgen to join Penske. And I don't know if Dolgen's watching, but if you are, you have a Penske driver that is telling
I'm
you
pretty sure Dolgen's already signed with.
Yeah, we've seen changes.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Shout
But
out to Dolgen.
we can move on out of
Yeah.
last season, and let's look forward to this season. We had a lot of interesting off-season moves and a lot of not a lot of new drivers per se, but we did have a lot of changes between teams. So Mayhem, go through just a few that you saw kind of spotlight that
Well,
class.
I mean, I think the most obvious one's going to be Heredia moving down to Xfinity. I think that's going to be a pretty big one. You kind of mentioned this before, the HMS stable, how that's kind of changed, especially at the Cup level. You've got a lot of experience with both Sharp and Ghost, and they'll obviously both be racing in Cup on Hendrick, and we haven't seen, I don't think, especially Sharp is as much as we hoped to have seen him last year. So this could be a great opportunity for him to come back and really establish himself as a contender. Shake and Bake, we mentioned him, two-time, back-to-back champion in trucks. He's up in Xfinity now, and then, T-Bird obviously was in Xfinity, was tied for the championship lead in Xfinity, and she's going to go down to trucks. So, the JRM stable and GMS, they're going to, remain really strong with guys that you're going to expect to compete for championships. I'd say those are the big ones. I mean, I know I'm missing a couple. But obviously, not to hype myself up too much, but I'm coming back to the Cup Series. We've got Dallator making his Cup debut. He'll be up there, and I think those are some of the bigger ones. I know you guys will hit on some of the other ones, but I would say those are kind of the biggest ones. I think we would all agree.
Mm-hmm. I do want to point out something that I'm just finding out. I really wasn't paying much attention to the Cup roster, but HMS is the only team with a full Cup roster that is full of drivers that were in Cup last season. They are comprised of the 9 of Sharp, the 24 of the Ghost 0241, the 48 of Joker, and the 88 of Dolgen. So I look at these other ones, SHR, it's Nobes, Dallator, you, Mayhem, and Drunk. There's a lot I feel like you can learn from both Nobes and Drunk. They're veterans of the Cup Series.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Drunk's won races in back-to-back seasons. Nobes, I think this year obviously we didn't have a Final Four as we had the 2 previous years, but he's been in the Final Four every single year he's been in the league. So those are guys that definitely know how to perform, and I'm excited to have them as teammates because not only are they really competitive and in terms of speed, but they're a couple of great guys. They're people that you want as your teammates to work with, and as much as they're in it for themselves, I think all of us are in it for the team, and we're going to work together to make each other better. So really kind of excited for that process.
Big time. And I did see that Dallator joined. We'll get to him later, but I'm glad to see that he did have the opportunity to join us. RCR and CGR. So this was an interesting one. Brody was originally in the Xfinity series, and then he hopped back up to Cup in his 42 car once he realized what was happening in Xfinity with all the drop downs. So in that team you have Nate 125, I think it's the best, but it's not showing up there. Always
Yeah.
Eric, Smoke Zmog. I've been in leagues with Smoke Zmog. He's fast, and of course Brody himself. So thoughts on Brody's team right there?
Well, I think Brody and Xfinity would have been really interesting. I mean, we'll obviously get to Xfinity and how stacked that field is, but Brody's somebody that I would still consider, a championship contender. If I was going to make championship favorites, I think Brody would probably be third or fourth. For me, he's definitely up there. He won a race last year. He's always been competitive. He's got wins under his belt. I think having him lead that team is going to be great. It's going to be interesting, though. He doesn't, he's got a lot of unknowns, 2 rookies that are making their, Hennessy debuts when the Daytona 500 rolls around. And obviously, always Eric has some experience, but isn't exactly what you would consider, a championship contender or a front runner in the Cup Series. So I think it'll be interesting to see, Brody's going to kind of have to do it by himself, but, he's always competitive, he's always quick, so he's definitely going to be a contender.
I feel that as well. JGR in Cup, it is myself in the 11. Fistbuster, this was a really big pickup for us. We got Fistbuster in the 18 car. Masopes coming up from Xfinity, past champion and team owner in the 19 car. And Mike G, a longtime driver for Fords, really. He is coming over to Toyota in the number 20. So, Jake, what are your thoughts of that team? You think JGR, you think will be able to make any noise this season?
I mean, I definitely do expect JDR to be able to make some sort of noises. I mean, we've seen how much they've changed a lot over the past couple of seasons, so I really expect a lot when it comes to JGR and, of course, a lot of these teams. I feel like they all have their own chance to be able to win races. I mean, they have a really good truck roster. Xfinity, obviously, Masopes is leading the cavalry, trying to be able to do his best. And of course, you and of course your team up there, and plus JoJo as well in the Cup Series has really improved a lot. So I expect a lot from JGR, especially when it comes to Season 5.
Moving on to Penske. This is the team owned by Heredia. I know he's in that chat listening along. He got in his championship ride last season, he got AK unleaded. Now, this is a really interesting one. I think AK has a lot of potential to probably to repeat here, don't you think? He's got teammates in Papa Musa, who was very fast the one time I got to race him at Iowa. Hendrick Chase 9, don't know too much about him, but I saw him in pubs. He's pretty clean. And Chibi the champ. So Penske, how are we feeling on Penske, Mayhem?
Well, Penske's going to be interesting just in the sense that you don't really know. Again, you've got a couple of unknowns kind of compared to when we talked about Brody and CGR, but I think the biggest thing for Penske is just going to be consistency. Again, I think AK's a great driver. But AK's known a little bit for, tensing some people up, and, he's not afraid to move you around if he thinks he's faster than you, and I think that'll be an interesting dynamic to kind of see how that evolves through the season. You would know, Jim, a little bit yourself about, sometimes getting into it with some guys that are pretty quick, and, not always the most fun, so I think it'll be interesting to watch that, but, I think AK is certainly going to be a competitor in the series. He's not somebody you can take lightly. He's great, road courses and mile and a half. You got to watch out for him. But it'll kind of be interesting to see. He'll obviously be kind of the head of the table. But, what follows behind him, it's very similar, I would say, to Ganassi in the sense that you've got one guy who's going to be competitive, but does he have the help of other guys when it comes down to it, in certain spots? And I think that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, already Heredia in the chat saying he's just going to have to clean up a few things with AK, but I can tell you from being in other leagues with him and just racing with him in general, I think the truck series, I got to watch him race. I was commentating it. He was fast. He had speed, so don't know if it was Cup speed, but we're going to find out this season. And I think with that supporting cast with Papa Musa, I'm pretty sure he has setups. He sounds like someone who would have setups. And Hendrick Chase, Chibi. I know Chibi, he's had some interesting background stories, but he's got speed. It's there. He just has to keep it clean and not get any penalties. You don't want to incur a whole bunch of penalties for your team. Move on to Roush. This is where I was hoping I could get word with Alan, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be able to join tonight. He is the owner of Roush Fenway in the league, but his drivers are, I don't know, that is YB Beta in the number 6, himself in the 17, Boger in the 34, AHAC in the 38. Now, a lot of people are saying this is going to be the weakest team. A lot of people were laughing at them in the offseason, but do you think they have any chance of making some noise this season, Mayhem?
I think you look at it from the surface value on paper, and I think I would agree on raw speed, but there's more to racing than just raw speed. If I had to break it down, you've got 4 guys that I think are going to show up every single week. AHAC has proven that he's a guy who's going to be there every week. Allen's a guy who's going to be there every week. And then we'll see what happens with the other 2, but I think, I don't, maybe this is a bold prediction. I think they'll be, they're not going to be last in team points. I think they're going to have guys that show up. I think they're going to have some races where they surprise. Allen's more of a contender than people give him credit for. And I would say that they will not be last in Cup team points this year. If I had to pick somebody to be last in Cup team points, it would probably be Penske. Just based off of not just speed, but showing up and attendance and things like that. But I think they're going to surprise some people with some of the stuff they'll do. They might not have guys that have race-winning speed all the time, but they're going to have guys that are going to compete, and they're going to mix it up. And if one or two things bounce their way, Allen's somebody that's capable of winning, and who knows? You never know what happens in racing. So I think the fact that they show up is going to pay off a lot for them, like do them a lot of dividends over the course of the season.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that I think they're being a little bit undershadowed. I feel like they might not have the amazing speed, but they have a good team owner in Allen, and they're very dedicated to getting better. And I feel like you just need that. If you can get your way into the postseason, who knows what can happen? If you can get yourself into the postseason, it's kind of a free-for-all. So we'll keep our eye on that. But we will transition over to the Xfinity roster. JRM, owned again by Riley. The one car is vacant right now. Nobody has hopped into that one car. I'm hearing a lot of speculation that it could be somebody that has just joined the league, but don't know 100%. Riley's driving the 7, Shake and Bake, 2-time champion in trucks. Finally got that upgrade to an Xfinity car. He's in the 8, and Akerd is in the 9. So thoughts on JRM? It seems like they have a lot of speed still.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. Even with the turnaround, they're going to be really strong. I would be shocked if they weren't the team to beat in Xfinity again this year. I think they're good competition. Obviously Penske, I think, brings a lot to the table in terms of competition this year. But JRM's got guys that are really good. It's going to be really fun. I think the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is how Shake and Bake is going to perform in the Xfinity Series this year. Obviously, like you said, this is kind of his promotion and his emergence, I guess you would say, kind of up from the truck ranks. And it's not that at all. I don't think he can do it. But, this is kind of his first opportunity to prove that he's more than just a truck driver. I think that he'll do that without question.
Completely different car, too.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, completely different car. It'll be very interesting to see how he fares. He's shown a lot of speed. He's one of the cleanest in the league, so that bodes well for him. But if he can pair that
Xfinity Series,
that
Xfinity Series being clean might not bode too well for you. I think.
Yeah, you gotta get to that inside.
I think you're gonna have to get your elbows out and knock some fenders in if you really want to compete for wins in that Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
Got to put that composite body to use.
I definitely see that. Electric can attest. You gotta get a little bit aggressive there to make passes. Next is your Xfinity squad, Mayhem. It is the 5, which is currently vacant, I believe. The 13, which is O'Dillon. The 18, Sir Sadsack, and a cup driver that dropped down, Jojo Siwa. He is a dark horse for a championship. Go over your team.
Well, I'm actually going to announce, I guess now that we're here, the driver of the 5. So we had somebody lined up, but unfortunately it didn't quite work out the way we intended it to. But we're actually going to have former cup driver Fluffy Sachs is going to be driving the 5 for us at SHR this year. So really excited to have him in. He's somebody who's been here for a long time. I think everyone would agree, one of the cleaner racers here. He's a guy who a lot of people respect on the track, and he's somebody who's just, trying to get better, and I'm really excited to add him to the team. So that kind of fills out our roster, I guess. Going down the rest of it, O'Dillon was, I don't think, an acquisition that anyone would have seen coming if you would ask, coming into the offseason who would be driving that car. But really excited to have him. He's somebody that, has cup wins previously and took a year off, but he's ready to come back, and we're really excited to have him. Statstack made the playoffs last year in Xfinity, and we talked about how stacked that field was. He was in the playoffs, and he's gotten a lot better. I'm really excited to see him hopefully take another step forward in that 18 car. I think he'll be looking pretty good out there. And then I think, Jojo, you mentioned, is a dark horse. We've run some expeditions earlier this year, and he's been really competitive in all of them. Arguably he could have won each and every single one of them. So I think he's really excited to get down, and, he's really looking forward to the season. And I think having him motivated is great for himself. And I think it's going to be a great year for SHR. I think last year we underperformed a little bit But I think we've really revamped the team this year, especially on the Xfinity side and the Cup side. And I think we've got some good stuff coming.
Excited that Fluffy is going to be back. That's awesome. Love to hear it.
Yeah. That will be a good one. I think everyone's excited to have Fluffy back. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. That's a good team morale as well.
Yes.
Okie
Team player.
dokie. And moving on to Colleague and RCR. Again, this is Brody's Xfinity team. These are a lot of guys I know. This is the team with the 10 car of TK270 Kelvin, the 11 of I2 Ballstick, the 16 of Killer or Frank, and the 21 of Marnes. So I think I can go a little bit about these guys.
Yeah,
Kevin's fast. So TK270, he is fast. The problem is he has lost a lot of interest in NASCAR Heat 5 League racing. He has told me this. He has told me that it's just not really his cup of tea. He'd rather be doing else, really, Rocket League. So he's got off-track stuff that kind of interferes with his ability to put in the sweaty laps on NASCAR Heat 5, if you will. But back in other leagues, he was very fast. Ballstick, he is driving the 11 car, and he wanted to do this because this is probably going to be his last season on Heat 5, and he wanted to drive the car that he started in the NARL. He drove the 11 car, so he wanted that, and he wants to grab a win in it before his career is over on Heat 5. Frank in the 16, I think that was he was on that team last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, in the 10. I mean, he had a shot at the championship. He was one of the guys. So.
Yep. He is extremely fast. Another dark horse for the championship if he can just keep it clean and stay consistent. He's able to stay consistent mostly everywhere, no matter what kind of racetrack. And hopefully he can pick up a couple wins this season. And then coming back to Hennessy is Marnes. So thoughts on Marnes?
I mean, he's won a race. The cleanliness of it might be debatable, but the fact that he won the race is not. So, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting with him. I mean, you've got some guys that are notoriously known for being great on the racetrack to race around, and I think Marnes is somebody that might, unfortunately, notoriously not be known for that same thing. But this is a great opportunity for him to learn from some guys who, I would say are established veterans in this league and guys who people really respect. And, I think this could be a great learning opportunity for him if he uses it right. We'll see what the season brings for him in terms of performance, but nothing wrong with some guys having a season where you learn a lot of things and become a better overall driver. Beyond the stats is just as important as going out there and racking up 5-10 wins in a season. So I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how that progresses with those guys, and I'm really looking forward to CGR Xfinity. Those are guys that are great to race around, and they're all pretty cool guys, and it'll be fun to see them this year.
5 to 10 wins are great, but consistency, I would take consistency over having those 5 to 10 wins. If I could finish third in every single race, get into the postseason. I don't know if we call it playoffs, Chase. I think it's a hybrid, but the postseason, just getting into that's kind of what the goal is going to be, I feel like, for a lot of these Xfinity guys, seeing how stacked it is.
For sure.
Moving on to the next team, JGR and HRE, Masopes' Xfinity team. Kush Knight, he has been in the Truck Series for as long as I can remember. So congrats to him on making it to the Xfinity Series and driving the number 19 car. Ghostkiller, another guy from the Truck Series. He's going to follow his good buddy Shake and Bake up to the Xfinity Series. Blakey T, we thought he was going to be a Cup driver for a while. He went down to Xfinity and he's going to be driving the 54 and 10 Titan for life. And I'll be completely honest, I think these guys really can make some moves to put themselves up at the front this season, especially guys like Blakey T and Ghostkiller.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Blakey run before, so I can't really speak to him too much. But, Ghostkiller is somebody that I think we would all agree outperformed what the stats would say. If you looked at his stat sheet at the end of his Xfinity Trucks career, I think that you would, and then you watch some of the races, they kind of don't add up. I mean, the Eldora race that he probably would have won hands down by 10 seconds over everybody before he lagged out is kind of, in my opinion, almost sums up his kind of truck career. It's not that it was underwhelming. It's just that things just never seemed to break right for him. And he's going to be competitive. I think he's one of those dark horses in Xfinity. As for the rest of the guys, Kush Knight going up there is another guy who is really consistent. He's going to be there every week, and he can surprise you. I've had some races where I've looked up and all of a sudden he's sitting there in the top 5, in trucks. So he's somebody that I think can make some noise and find himself in the right place, right time. And I'm blanking on who the other guy that we're supposed to talk about is.
Kush and Titan.
Oh, Titan. Titan was kind of up and down. I mean, he got off to a really hot start, I believe, in the 51 last year. Mm-hmm. And
I think it's 61, but yeah.
I think he'll be there every week, and he'll be interesting to watch. I think he's a great driver. So I think JGR is they're going to be set up for success this year. I think they've got some good guys. Would have been interesting to see masopes have stayed down in Xfinity, but not everyone's got the guts to face Heredia, and that's okay. But I'm excited to see how those guys do. I think they could surprise.
In his own words, Masopes said he wanted a cup win. He did not want any more of the slander. He didn't like any of the beef thrown at him. He wants to win a cup race. If he can make it to the postseason and win a cup championship, that would be gravy, but he wants a cup win. That's why he went. Moving on to the next. Sorry, go ahead.
We don't have to go on about it. I mean, as someone who's won some cup races before, Masopes got his work cut out for him. I mean, it's going to be Cup's pretty more stacked than I think it's almost ever been. I think people look at it and they see Heredia's name not there anymore, and they think it's more open. But I mean, you got some guys this year that are going to win some races, and it's going to be really competitive at that Cup field. So, we'll see how that turns out for him. But he had a really successful Xfinity career. I think that he would have been a front runner in Xfinity and a championship favorite. But good for him for taking on the challenge.
On the challenge indeed. The next one is probably the highly anticipated one here in the chat. It's the Penske Xfinity team. This is Heredia's, and it is headlined by the Cup champion, two-time Cup champion, the Heredia God. And the 36 is Electric. The 90 is Mr. Hex. And the 92 is Jackson Altman. Now, Electric, I'm going to get your take on this. These are your teammates. How are you feeling about your team this season, along with, headlined by Heredia again?
Well, I would like to say that I'm thankful that Heredia moved down, actually helping us out. I think he'll be able to actually make us push even more harder for wins and even have the chance to unlock our real potential into these next races that he about to race with us. Having him, and then it's me and Jackson, and then Hex. With me, Jackson, and Hex, we're just hoping to fall right behind Heredia, and just everything that we get to learn from him is just it's more and more grateful for us. So then we could just go out there and we can put on a show for everybody. I'm for sure everybody have us down in the dumps, but I'm for sure we'll be able to pick it back up after what we did last season.
Definitely think so. Penske is on its way up, and I think adding Heredia obviously is going to help a ton. But Electric, yourself, and Jackson. Jackson was a Truck Series driver, I believe, last season, who went to Xfinity in season 3. So he went from Xfinity to Truck to Xfinity, if I'm remembering correctly.
And Cup.
Yeah. So I like Penske this season. I think they'll do pretty impressive stuff. And I don't know much about Mr. Hex, but I'm interested to see what he can do. Moving
Yeah,
on
for sure. I
to
think it'll
yep,
be
sorry.
interesting. No, I was just trying to transition you. You're good.
Yeah. JD Motorsports, Allen's Xfinity team is Logan Aim, I Warner 16, Movement YT, and Hale State. Thoughts on that team? Let's go to Jake. Jake, what do you think about this team?
I think it's a really good team. Especially with how much they've changed over a lot these last couple of years. They got really good leadership, and I don't see why not. I mean, anything can really happen, especially with the Xfinity Series. I know there's a lot of attention on this team, so I really think these drivers are going to have to work hard, try to be able to step up, because I know this team is ready to try to win themselves a championship this year. Or the season, sorry.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to step up to the plate. A lot of these guys are newcomers. I think Logan Aim is a new guy, and I think Movement YT are new guys. Warner might be, but I know Hale State is a long-time veteran.
Warner used to be, I think he ran Hennessy in the truck in Season 3 for a short while, but he's kind of returning, I guess you would say, from a hiatus in the same way almost like AK does. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to do, though. He's clean, though. I've raced against him a few times, and he'll surprise you on a road course. He's more competitive than you think he is, but I think they'll be fun to watch.
Before we move on, thoughts on who's going to fill that one seat? A lot of people are hypothesizing that one seat is going to be filled by Cyogenic.
I can't tell you what or what will not happen, but I can tell you that the name that you just threw out there and the name that everyone's thinking about, I would put the percentage way lower than you would expect it to be. That's all I can say.
Okay. If you say so.
Oh, trust me, everyone's waiting for that.
My lawyers advised me not to say anymore.
All right, and moving on to the truck series. This one, a lot of big changes. A lot of the top runners ended up heading up the ranks into the Xfinity series, so it might be a little more open. But GMS, Riley's team, is 21 of Ty Racing, the 23 of T-Bird, the 24 of Dank, and the 26 of TGS. That team seems pretty freaking stacked, doesn't it, Mayhem?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb. I know I made one bold prediction already about Roush's Cup team. I think Dank will really surprise some people. I think we'll be talking about Dank at the midway point of the season as a championship contender. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch him in truck series. I think trucks are what he feels most comfortable in as a driver, and I think that'll be, really, really great for him to move down. This is a great opportunity for him. I think everybody looks at the Hendrick stable and thinks that, T-Bird's the favorite, and, TGS has obviously been there now 3 years. This will be his third year, so, I think people probably look at those two guys and put them as 1, 2. I would venture out to say I think Dank's probably 1, and I would say T-Bird's 2 on that team in terms of how they'll perform this year, so I'll keep an eye out for that. But I think GMS is going to be competitive as always, but I think you'll be surprised who's leading the charge and when it comes down to the points.
No doubt. Moving on to Thor Sport, Jason Cole driving the 13. I think that's H-Wix. Yep, it says M-Wix, but it's H-Wix in the 88. And Solis in the 98. 99 has not been filled. Ma'am, do you have a driver for that 99, or are we still waiting?
Unfortunately, I don't have an announcement for driver of the 99. We're working on a couple of things right now. Just unfortunately, nothing's come out yet. We've got a little bit of time before the season starts, a couple weeks, so we're hoping to get something done. We'll have somebody in the seat to start the year. Just looking at a couple of possibilities. Maybe a surprise return to the league. So we'll have to see what happens there. I can't say too much more about that, but I think that you've got 3 guys that I would say are arguably three of the most respected drivers in the Truck Series. Wicks is a Truck champion. Probably should be a two-time Truck champion. No one ever talked about that, but he, he's great. He's made the Final Four 3 times. He's just a great driver. A ton of respect on the track. I mean, Jason Cole won an Xfinity race last year, moving down to trucks. I think, he's had success in the Truck Series. I think he won a truck race last year, too. So, he'll be great, and obviously somebody who's regarded as a really clean driver. And then Solis, Solis has an Xfinity win. Like, people forget that. He's won an Xfinity race in this series. So he definitely knows what he's doing, and excited to see him.
Definitely.
I'll say I can tell you from my point of view, Mayhem, you definitely got a really great driver in Jason Cole. A phenomenal driver, awesome teammate. I think he's definitely going to make a really huge center point, especially for your truck team.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
This is a very exciting ThorSport team, and a team that is historically just brilliant on the racetrack. So we'll be interested to see how they perform this season amongst a lot of heavy hitters in that entire series. Moving on to Nice and JAR, Brody's team. This is Cap Jack. A lot of people thought he could have won the championship last season, was very close to doing so. Freedom Flyer, this is a very big pick. He came from the Cup Series down to the trucks, and I can tell you he's really fast. Greg Tyrus in the 44 and McAvoy in the 45. But, Jake, I want to hear what you think about, Jack staying in the Truck Series and Freedom also going down to the Truck Series in that 40 truck.
I mean, from my point of view, I believe that this is Jack's chance to be able to win the Truck Series, especially in Season 5. I mean, from someone who has spent the league for as long as time, even though I've had my in and outs, the one thing I can say is Jack has always been so respected, so awesome, and I think for him to be able to stay in the Truck Series is really great because it can show that with that knowledge of him being in the Cup Series and the Truck Series can help him get a chance to win a championship for him and his team, especially when it comes to everyone as far as being involved. I mean, I really like Greg Tyrus. I'm trying not to butcher his name. McAvoy, is that his name?
Yep, McAvoy.
McAvoy and Freedom Flyer are also going to be two really great additions. We've seen Freedom Flyer. I think he was in the Cup Series at one point, and in my opinion, Freedom Flyer is an underrated driver for that team. So expect a lot of him. McAvoy, who we've seen in Hendrick with him and Joker and all them, can really bring some of that knowledge. So I really expect this team to be able to do a lot this season.
No joke. That is a very, very strong lineup. Moving on to Kyle Busch Motorsports, HRE, JGR. This is Masopes' truck team, and it is the 4 of Moose, 16 of Captain Dead Dad, the 51 of Taylor Gonsline, and the 52 of Fire Slayer. And man, I gotta say that I think we knocked it out of the park with those drivers because I think they're all suited. They all have good speed in any series, but in the Truck Series, that seems to be their bread and butter. So I am really, really excited, and I think Moose could grab a couple wins.
Not only that, but yet something I do want to admire, and I got to give a shout out to Fire Slayer. I've been in many different leagues with him as far as the Truck Series. He is a really awesome teammate. Obviously, Big Jim, but the thing about it is that he always brings that knowledge, especially with how long he's been in leagues. He can help, as far as setups. He can not only that, but help you give you the knowledge of what to be prepared for. And so to be able to have Fire Slayer on there, and also got to give credit to for Captain Dead Dad and of course Moose. I believe Moose, who many people have seen him, work so hard, especially this off season. For someone who has experienced it, I've seen Moose be prepared for all these off season races, and it's going to help him be prepared for season 5. And of course, last but certainly not least, Willie B. Fan, he's going to do incredible. Or Taylor Gonsline, awesome guy, and I think this JGR crew, KBM, whatever you want to call them, is going to have a really good standout for the season.
I just keep looking back at it, and it's like, look at all the Cup drivers that went down to the Truck Series in all those different teams. But moving on, we have the Rheaume brothers, or Room, I don't know how to say that. Our brothers. This is Heredia's truck team. It's Free OG, Team Air Jordan, Tiger NASCAR, and Mini Fitz. So that's a really, really strong team that a lot of people aren't really giving enough credit to, I think. Everyone's looking at GMS, but that Penske team's looking really strong, man.
Mayhem said he had to go.
Okay, well, then we'll just move on to the next one. That's the Nemco DGR. This is Alan's team. It's Mr. Williams, Worm, Electric Blade, and Sikkim. And I've been high on Sikkim since the beginning. I think he has the ability to do some incredible things this season.
I mean, Sikkim is one of the top guys out of that bunch that's going to have a lot of eyes on him. Of course, I mean, we can't forget Electric Blade. Electric Blade was a Cup driver, I believe, at one point. Mm-hmm. And even, I don't know if he's gotten a win yet, but his win is coming soon. I mean, he's had some impressive runs, especially as far as the Cup Series. Mr. Williams, I've seen a little bit out of him. I mean, there's something that he needs to be able to work on, especially when it comes to trying to have that momentum, and consistency is something that he needs to work on as well. Other than that, I really think that this group that Dallin has in store for him is a very good one, and I really look forward to seeing how that goes.
I agree. There's a couple guys that came from Cup down to trucks for that team between Electric Blade and Sikkim. I think Worm was also in the 22 for a little bit, maybe one race, but I think he was in the Cup Series for like Pocono or something in Season 3. So that's going to do it for all of the different changes, all your rosters for those 3 series. And I know he's been patiently waiting in here. I haven't really called him out yet, but he's one of the guys that made the biggest move. He went from the trucks to the Cup Series in that number 10 Smithfield Ford Mustang. Dalator, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, buddy. Well, we're glad to be joined by you. We didn't know if you were going to be able to make it, but we're definitely glad you did. How are you feeling? You got, a nice Cup ride, and you got a very good team owner behind you. So how are you feeling for this upcoming season?
I was promised bacon. I like bacon. I want to eat bacon. Give me the bacon.
All right.
Don't forget the alcohol too. Don't forget the alcohol too.
Oh no, I don't drink Bush. No, that's water. I don't drink that.
I'm looking at your cars right now. It's Smithfield, and then Go Bowling. Are you a bowler?
No, I don't like heavy balls.
God. God.
Oh my gosh. Well, now the Control Chaos has turned into NSFW. Thank you, Dalator.
No, in all honesty, I do feel pretty good about this upcoming season. Obviously, making the switch from trucks to Cup. Cup is basically the reason why everybody buys the game. People don't really buy it for the trucks. People don't buy it for Xfinity Series. This was only a new addition to the game, I think, 2 games ago, 1 game ago, and 3 or 4 or something like that? Right, so everybody had experience with Cup, and I know that they've had different engines and all that other stuff before. But the group that I'm racing with, I've raced with them for many seasons, even before joining Hennessy. Me, Nobes, Drunk all ran in another league. Fluffy ran in that league as well, so did Jason Cole. So there's a lot of people that are on SHR that I'm very familiar with. I don't really care if I have anything to prove in Cup. I'm just here to have fun, and that's how I'm going to go into the season. If I surprise somebody, then great. If I don't, oh well. But, I'm just here to have fun with the people that, are on the team. Hopefully I can pick a thing up or two from people like, Dylan, drunk, nobes. So, we'll see how it turns out.
I like the spirit. I like the spirit that you're just here to have fun. And honestly, that's usually when drivers are doing their best, is when, the bricks are lifted off their shoulder. They don't have to worry about all the stress and, as long as you just stay clean. That's the only thing they ask, is that you stay very clean and eliminate, taking off everyone that is stressing out about getting into the postseason stuff. It's not like you're not going to try, but you're definitely not going to sweat over all this.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel more as though that I am more of an old school racer, where if you're challenging me for the position, I'm not going to fight too hard, but don't move me, because then you get the chrome horn back. So as long as you show me respect and I'll show you respect, I'm going to respect everybody the same. So, I'm not expecting to win races. I'm just expecting to log laps, laugh, and have fun.
Love it. I love that. And Jake, do you have anything to kind of quiz or just talk to Daltor about getting that number 10 car?
I just want to ask him, obviously we've seen you a lot, especially when it comes to being in the Truck Series. And now you're finally moving on to Cup. Do you think it's a sense of relief to say, hey, you finally get a chance to do something awesome for yourself, new team, new everything? Or are you just kind of like just testing the waters to see how it goes for you?
Again, I really don't care, to be honest. I beat Nobes and Brody for a championship in that other league. So if I put my mind to it, I could really surprise some people. Again, that's, for their opinion, not really so much, trying to prove anything. I don't have anything to prove. I'm not here to prove anything. But, it's just a different challenge, and, I'll take it head on.
Very well said. And, for someone who's seen you in trucks for a long time, I really think you're going to kill it out there, especially in that 10 car, man.
Appreciate it.
Deserve the upgrade. Absolutely deserve the upgrade.
It's been a long time coming for you to get an upgrade, man, but I think you're going to do well. I think, it's going to feel weird to see you in SHR and instead of Roush. I will say that, but I think you're going to do awesome, man.
Yeah, well, it's an upgrade that I feel, is a little overdue.
Big time.
Like I said, I don't really even consider it an upgrade, because it's just, just people in this league either race the series they like or race around their schedule. So, a lot of the back and forth and banter that we see in the league, I don't necessarily agree with that, a cup guy is better than a truck guy, or a truck guy is worse than a cup guy, or so on and so forth. But yeah, it's just a new challenge. It's going to be weird seeing that 17 truck on track in the broadcast booth, and me not in it. I've raced a couple of the exhibition races already, and every time I'm looking at the 17 truck and I'm thinking, all right, why is there two of them out here? And I look at my truck and I'm like, oh, I'm not the 17 anymore. So it's it's different. I wish Ecos all the luck, Alan's team all the luck. I know Second is gonna, if he pulls off what he's able to pull off in Gran Turismo, dude is gonna have a very, very surprising season as far as other expectations of him go. So he might have the most upside in the truck series.
I'll tell you firsthand that seeing someone else in your car or your truck is like an out-of-body experience. In some leagues, I drive the 11. Some leagues, I don't. When I don't, I feel like I should be controlling the car that's to my inside that's driving the 11. It is the weirdest thing. Seeing it in the broadcast booth is a little less weird because you're not actually racing against it. But does this mean Daltor is going to be in the booth this season for trucks?
It could. It very well could. Who knows? If schedule lines up, and it might.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's great. Needed you back in the booth for for the trucks. I really enjoyed that from season 3 when we did Bristol together. That was a freaking blast. So hopefully we get to do that again.
Also, real quick, I do have some big news, especially when it comes to the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Something I thought about, it's like ever since the season was over, like I can't really stay retired. I mean, being in here with you and Electric, Dalator, I can't retire. So, regardless of if I get a route or not, I'm gonna stick to my position being in the broadcast booth for season 5.
Oh, we're just full of good news tonight. It's just I'm smiling ear to ear now because that is great news. And
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you start doing something you love, you can't really stay away from it. It's like,
addiction.
Yeah, pretty much that. And plus, you see how much fun you're having, and plus how much knowledge that you've done. Especially with season 1, I mean, Dalator, if you remember, it was me and masopes that started it all for the broadcast booth.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact I'll bring that along in season 5 gonna be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Looking forward to having you in the booth. You've done a really good job so far. When you do broadcast, you bring a Mike Joy-ish type of voice to what Hennessy does. So, glad to see that you're coming back for more.
Yeah. I mean, just touche. I completely echo what Dalator said. I'm ecstatic that you'll be back in the booth for season 5. And that kind of segues, because we have Dalator in here, I'm sure he wouldn't mind talking a little bit of the changes to the schedule this season from season 4. And my goodness, there are a lot of changes. These graphics look phenomenal as always. But we'll start with that truck series. Let me just read off just so everyone knows what that schedule is. Daytona, Phoenix, Auto Club, Road America, Darlington, Indianapolis, Talladega, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Sonoma, Michigan, Richmond, Kentucky, Pocono, Charlotte, the Charlotte Roval, New Hampshire, Vegas, Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Homestead, Miami. But it's not really about the tracks picked, but about what is attached to them. Dalator, can you go a little bit about these special races?
Sure. So first, I want to start off by saying that I'm really happy that we had the engagement from each series, the trucks, the Xfinity, and Cup series, with the drivers that are in those series. As far as voting goes for the schedule, we had the admins had a group of people that would submit potential schedules. And we all looked at them, talked it over, and felt that there were 3 schedules that were good enough to go to vote, and then let the drivers in each series vote on it. So the drivers in this league have a say is when the schedules when it comes down to the schedules. So I want to thank all of them for voting on it. This is the schedule that they voted on for trucks. So on to the special races. Obviously, we have a larger season this year with 20 races, 15 race regular season, 5 race playoffs. The format for the playoffs in all 3 series is going to change just a little bit. We can get into that a little bit later. But as far as the special races go, there are races that we're going to do in all 3 series that are not going to have stages. It's just going to be green flag to checkered flag, green, yellow, checkers, pretty much. It's how it's going to run. It's going to run like it did before NASCAR decided that they were going to manufacture drama and add excitement mid-race to keep the people that can't pay attention paying attention. So of the 15 races in the regular season that we are going to see the Truck Series run, Darlington, Sonoma, and Richmond are not going to have any stages attached to them. Each track provides a unique challenge. Richmond is a short track that tire wear is very paramount at. you're going to have a pretty good balance between your setup and short run, long run. Sonoma being a road course, very technical, and then Darlington. I don't really think that I need to say too much about how difficult Darlington is at 100% and 1 times wear on tires. So you're going to have more wear, no stages, which means that you're going to have to hit the setup just that much sooner, because you're not going to have the ability to have the benefit of the start of stage 2, start of stage 3 to maximize on time on track, positions gained, things like that. So it really gives a more technical aspect to the way that the season is going to run, at least for those 3 races.
And if you want to find any of the information for the Truck Series Season 5 schedule, you can find it on the Discord under Truck Schedule. And I can tell you right now, the 2 times tracks, Daytona Auto Club, Indianapolis, Talladega, Michigan, Kentucky, Pocono, Charlotte, Vegas, and Homestead, looks like it has that, it's kind of focusing on the bigger racetracks, 1.5 milers, and super speedways. Those are going to be your 2 times wear, and 3 times, just like it would be in real life back with the 550 versus 750 package at the time. 3 times tracks are going to be the short tracks. It's going to be Phoenix. It's also going to be Road America, Darlington, Worldwide Technology, Sonoma, Richmond, Charlotte Roval, New Hampshire, Watkins Glen, and Bristol. So yeah, I can see what the admins were doing there, and I think it's really, really bright.
Talk about a really awesome schedule for it, and I cannot wait. The Truck Series gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait to head to Daytona, and it's gonna be a great one.
Should be a ton of fun. We are going to move on to the Xfinity schedule. Daltor, if you want to go ahead and read off those tracks, I'm still trying to load into it.
Sure. Xfinity, or the Busch Series, we've got, obviously starting out the season at Daytona, Vegas, Phoenix, Auto Club, Road America, Dover, Pocono, Charlotte, Mid-Ohio, Richmond, Kentucky, Gateway, or Worldwide Technology, Michigan, Martinsville, and to end the regular season, Talladega. In the playoffs open up at Iowa, Darlington, Watkins Glen, New Hampshire, and then Homestead is where the champion will be crowned.
Okay, yep, I have it loaded in here, and the races, the special races with no stages, Auto Club, Dover, Mid-Ohio. I'm really interested in that Auto Club one. We always see that one get very cramped up with all the pack racing, but after green flag stops, if they keep it green, are we going to be seeing pack racing, or are we going to be seeing some of that like 2010 type racing where they're all strung out?
I think. Go ahead, Daltor.
Nope, Jake, you go for it.
I'll say I think it's going to be really packed racing, because if you think about it, over the last couple of seasons has been nothing but packed racing. We've seen carnage there, and I think Auto Club is something I'm circling on the schedule, because not only is it one of the most tense races, but for a driver, it's also one of the most fun races out there.
Yeah, Auto Club is definitely one of the tracks that I have circled on my list of tracks to look for in the Xfinity Series schedule. No stages, tire wear, how you drive the track is so much different. You have so many different lanes, so many different grooves that you can use, and a lot of people have different tactics for the corners, the straightaways, saving tire, saving fuel. Not a lot of people really have ever done no stage racing at 50% of the duration of the scheduled, distance. So God only knows how that's going to turn out, because we know how it is with stage 1 and stage 2. They're obviously shorter than stage 3, and the fuel savings for that. So how are you going to do the math, be your own crew chief, while also driving not only Auto Club but Dover, and Mid-Ohio. I mean, those are the questions that the Truck Series with their 3 races, the Cup Series with their 3 races are also going to have to answer. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Auto Club and Dover, 2 races. I'm chomping at the bit for both of them because they're in my mind 2 of the best tracks in the game.
We've seen in the past people having trouble with Dover, but I'm very interested to see if that one can get spread out. Because if you don't have the restarts, if you can make it past that restart, I think you can see long green flag runs here. I think it's very hard to get loose in an Xfinity car, even though Dover's notoriously loose in a Cup car. Xfinity might be a little more planted in the track. But Jake, you were about to say something. Sorry for cutting you off.
I was gonna say, I think not only that, but I mean, there's also been always carnage there. I think back 2 seasons ago, I think it was either Dank or Tiger NASCAR that flipped up over there in turn 1 right after the end of hit road. So I expect hopefully a cleaner race like there has been, but it's also going to be one of the best tracks to be able to call. I mean, when it comes to the Xfinity Series, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, this is one of the tracks besides super speedways where it's really unpredictable, especially with the lines that these drivers go through, like Daltor mentioned. So I look forward to that as well.
Yeah, and going back to Dover for a second, it was taken off of the truck schedule a couple years ago because of how bad it was. There was not, I don't think, more than 5 or 6 laps of green flag racing because of cautions breeding more cautions. But the year before it almost went, I think it did actually go caution free except for the stage breaks. So Dover's one of those places where it's an absolute wild card. You have no idea if it's going to be a clean race, a caution-filled race until you actually get into it. So taking stages away from a field that has a ton of skill with Heredia, Riley, McCard, JoJo, and a few other people, you're going to get a lot of these guys, tactics really come to the forefront, and somebody may pop up and really shine here that we didn't expect. But it's this is why we're going to do this. We're trying to add a little bit of excitement to it, bring back a little bit more of the what each driver can do for their own sake of track position, and see if they can put themselves in position to steal a win.
Yeah, I get the feeling that Riley's chomping at the bit for Dover, seeing that he's a Jimmy Johnson stan. So I can absolutely see him looking forward to Dover. And Heredia, he loves all the tough racetracks, so he'll be very eager to get into Delaware. But I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read off the 2 times versus 3 times. Where 2 times tracks, it pretty much follows the Truck Series: Daytona, Vegas, Auto Club, Pocono, Charlotte, Kentucky, Michigan, Talladega, Homestead are all 2 times. 3 times where Phoenix, Road America, Dover, Mid-Ohio, Richmond, Worldwide Technology, Martinsville, Iowa, Darlington, Watkins Glen, and New Hampshire. So that is the Xfinity Series schedule, and let's move on to, this is the one that you and I are going to be competing in, Daltor, the Cup Series schedule. So right now I can tell you that the first race is kind of all mimics the Xfinity Series to a degree. It's Daytona, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Auto Club, Sonoma. Our first no stage race is Iowa. Then we go to Pocono, Charlotte. Mid-Ohio is another one with no stages. Richmond, Texas, Worldwide Technology. Michigan is the final race that we have with no stages. Martinsville, Chicagoland. And then our playoff races are Dover, Darlington, Watkins Glen, New Hampshire, and Homestead. So Daltor, what sticks out to you there? I see there's a lot of short tracks right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of short tracks. Sorry, I thought I was muted for a minute. A lot of short tracks in that it doesn't really start until we get to Sonoma. Honestly, I think Sonoma, as it's been talked about in real life, Sonoma is a short track for road courses. A lot of technical turns. You really don't get a lot of speed down that way. So I'll consider Sonoma to be a quasi short track. Iowa is a no stage race. that is a driver's track. It's going to be very difficult. Richmond, Martinsville, even Gateway. Gateway is a flatter track. You got to use a lot of braking to get into the corners. Rotation is going to be pretty key there. And then as far as the playoffs go, starting at Dover, if I can make the playoffs, not that I'm really counting on it because, again, I'm here for fun, but, Dover is my favorite track. I'm kind of got a little bit of bias to that. And then New Hampshire. These are two tracks where you're going to have, talent really come to the forefront there. Again, New Hampshire, a flatter track. The way you attack the corners is really going to make up a lot of what you're either going to gain or lose. So it is a little bit short track heavy, but, with higher horsepower cars and cars that drive worse than the trucks or Xfinity cars, it's really about who can show who they've got the most skill.
Definitely. Jake, thoughts?
I think this season, especially with the Cup Series schedule, is going to be a lot of fun, especially when it comes to the drivers and both what we're going to be seeing. It's obviously going to be a lot different, especially with Heredia not going to be involved. But one thing I can say is expect a lot of fun, action-packed racing. And if there was one race that I'm circling on, especially if I was in the Cup Series, I would say, obviously, not only between Auto Club and Daytona, but I would also take a look at Michigan. Michigan is also one of my favorite tracks. It's a track that I don't think most of the Cup drivers like, but I'm all in for it because it should be a lot of great racing. I expect so much fun out of the Cup Series. It's going to be really an interesting season. I think Season 5 is going to be filled with a lot of interesting situations happening with everyone, the teams and the cars, what we're going to be seeing out on the racetrack. So a lot of fun stuff that's going to be happening here in the Cup Series.
Of note, too, the Cup Series is the only one not to go to Talladega. They only have one restrictor plate track, so Michigan could act as that second restrictor plate type track, as I'm trying to combine words here. So we've already seen it with guys in Xfinity like Eric, who is now in the 3 car in the Cup Series. His win in the Xfinity Series happened at Michigan. So I don't think a lot of people were expecting him to win then. I'm sure he has that circled on his calendar as a track that he thinks that he has a lot of confidence at. So, guys that you're not going to expect to really be up front every week. I'm not saying that he's not as talented as, other drivers in the Cup Series, but it's a track that he's already won at. So winning at a track brings you confidence. So I'm sure he'll have that circled on his list.
One thing about Michigan that really stands out to me is if we do get green flag runs, green flag pit stops are going to be a spectacle to behold. Like, it's so difficult. People underestimate how difficult it is to get on pit road at any track in this game. But when you're going high speed and you're still in a corner, you got to get on the banking without spinning out. You got to make sure to woe it up and not rear end anybody. I think you're going to see this one get spread out, in complete honesty. I think you're going to see a lot of mistakes on pit road entry.
I agree with you, because not only do you have to worry about you getting down off of the banking onto the apron, not spinning the car out there, but then getting down to pit road speed, not getting yourself a penalty, but making sure that you know what your surroundings are like and hoping to God that the guy behind you paid attention to you going underneath the white line to signify you're coming to pit road so he doesn't run you over and cause an accident.
Yeah, that's just going to be crazy. And I think the other tracks that are picked for no stages are perfect. Mid-Ohio, we've always had complaints from drivers about, we have to save tires every single stage. In fact, I was one of those drivers that was complaining about it, that you had to save, 1 to 2 laps on tires in stage 1, stage 2, and you had to save a little bit even into that final pit stop because your tires degrade so quickly at road courses, and especially tight road courses like a short track road course in Mid-Ohio. So I think that is a perfect one in Iowa. I mean, you know how grimy those tires get on long runs. It should be fantastic seeing guys trying to wheel it on a very, very long run. See if they
Yeah,
can
and
make it work.
the way that the physics of heat set up road courses is more predicated on how much fuel you burn off, and the warmer your tires are, the faster your laps get. So it's interesting to see what the balance is going to be with no stages. Who can really go out there and run some really hot laps before they have to come to pit road, when their car is at that perfect balance of weight and of tire heat. Because as we've seen in a lot of road racing, warmer tires is the way to go. Not necessarily newer tires, but warmer tires. And it's somehow translated over to heat. Don't understand how, but it has.
Yeah, somehow Heat got the. I won't say the tire wear is completely correct, and the physics most certainly are not correct on this game. But the model for how you run road courses and how that translates to your tires, that does make sense. So I would say that is something they have not screwed up on. And that kind of does it for our schedules. But I did want to talk. There is one more big change, and it has to do with the postseason. We aren't doing a chase format like we did last season. We're not doing a playoff format like we did the season before. What are we doing, Dalator?
I'll be right back.
Well, let me get to that because I need to refresh it. I should know this stuff as an admin, but in my old age, compared to you youngins, there's a lot of things that go on. So let me go over to one of the things. So if you guys want to fill some time here, go right ahead, and I'll
say I gotta go, so I would definitely do appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Yep. Thank you for joining us, Jake.
Sure, Jake. Can't wait to see you in the booth this season.
Hopefully, I'll be out on the racetrack this season. Crossing my fingers.
Ooh. All right. You heard it there from Jake. He's thinking about joining a team, racing maybe a couple hot seats, and we are really glad to hear that he'll be back in the booth for Season 5. An iconic voice for Hennessy.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here's how. Oh wait, this is. I think this is. Yep. Okay. This is pretty much what it's going to be.
All right.
It is a chase type format, so it's pretty simple. Highest driver in points at Vegas will be the champion. Oh wait, no cutoffs. 5 races, no eliminations. I think is that for this season.
So I think what it is this season is it's like 1 elimination. So I think if I remember this correctly, I think it is there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 races: Dover, Darlington, Watkins Glen, New Hampshire. That is like a chase format. And I think that last race is only the top 4, and they points reset, and it is just like it is in real NASCAR. It is a winner-take-all situation there.
Yeah. Yes. So, again, I need to refresh myself for that, so I apologize to everybody for not only being an admin and not knowing off the top of my head.
I didn't know it either. It was kind of convoluted to me as well.
Yeah. So, going back on some of the conversations that I think that we did have, I think, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. Again, sorry, but yeah. So we're gonna do it as almost like a hybrid. First 4 races of the playoffs is going to be a chase type of format. If you win one of those races as a playoff driver, you lock yourself into the championship race. So you're going to have 4, maybe 5. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. Again, I've disclaimed this twice. So if you're a playoff driver and you win, you could have a chance of running for the championship as long as you race in 3 or 4 of the playoff races. Because there is a new attendance requirement for not only playoffs but for the championship race as well if you are to qualify. But yeah, the first 4 will be run like chase format, and then the final one will be the top 4 or winners and a wild card in the final championship race. So if it is the top 5, so if we cut the field in half, 6 through 10 do not have a shot at the championship. The first 5 do. We have 4 different winners in each of the series for the playoffs. Win and you're in. And then the highest points out of those remaining 6 drivers is basically the wild card. So we're trying to keep it fresh, take the best of every format that NASCAR has thrown out at us in the past, I don't know, since 2004, and see what works. Because I think that this is going to add a bit more excitement and more be more tactile too. So you're going to have to think about what you're going to do in race 1, what you're going to do in race 3, and how that's going to affect you for race 4 and 5 if you were to make it.
So there's really 2 different strategies here as one of the drivers that make it into the postseason. You can either put your eggs all in one basket and try to win one race and advance that way, or you can be the best of the rest and be as consistent as possible, take the chase approach and get into Homestead or the final race that way to compete for the championship.
Exactly. And a win and you're in. If say in Cup, where we're both going to be running here, Jim, I have Dover circled. Again, it's well documented. That's one of my favorite tracks on the game. I feel like I have a lot of pace there. If I'm able to somehow miraculously win that race, all hell breaks loose for the other 3 races leading up to Homestead. I don't have to worry. Mm-hmm. So, you know what I mean? I'll be the least deserving out of every driver in the league when it comes to that, but that is a possibility. So
if you get into the postseason, you've earned it. So
yeah, for sure. But still, things are things, and any one person can win on any given week. So you just have to position yourself correctly, and if you've ended up winning, then you deserve to be in the championship race come playoff time.
Agree. And I did just see Sharp pop in. I was about to say something. I'm sure he is overjoyed that win and you're into the championship round is a thing, because Watkins Glen is his best racetrack, and he'll tell you that he loves that place. So he's definitely looking forward to that one. And I mean, he's good everywhere, but definitely Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and we haven't really touched on it too yet, but the Cup Series playoff races, if you take a look at it on paper, you have technically a short track, an intermediate, a road course, and a flat track. When we were deciding what to, call each track, yeah, New Hampshire is a short track, but it's a flat track. So flat tracks would have been like New Hampshire, Gateway, Pocono, Indianapolis, things like that. I think Phoenix was also in that category as well too. So you really have a diverse set of races or racetracks to go to, not only for Cup, for Xfinity, and for trucks as well. So if you end up getting yourself to the championship race in all 3 series, not only Cup, you've deserved it, because you are one of the best at all types of different disciplines, because every single discipline that we run at in Hennessy is featured in the playoffs.
I feel like these are all drivers, all of them in the into the postseason for every series is a driver's track. I think that the administration and the voters all made really good decisions on that, because I think you're going to see some great racing this season.
I'm with you on that.
All right, well, we are just about done here. We've covered all the drivers and all of the racetracks. So I guess we can talk a little bit about when these races start. But the Truck Series first race, Daltor, I'll let you tell everybody when these races start. Our season starts.
So we're going to basically start the season in just less than a month. I think that week before may be Father's Day week. I have to look at, a more detailed calendar because all I'm doing right now is looking at a calendar on a computer which has dates. It has absolutely nothing else on it. So starting on the 22nd, second to last Wednesday in June, obviously school is out for those who are still in high school, college, what have you. And we're going to run through just about November. So 20 races, 20 weeks. There are going to be a couple weeks off here. Again, starting on the 22nd for the Truck Series at Daytona, the next week at Phoenix, taking a week off for the 4th of July. That third race at Auto Club will be on the 13th instead of the 6th. I also now see, I think I have do I have no, I'm looking, okay, so I'm looking at May to June, not June to July. So, cool. Thought I messed up. I did not. July 6th we'll take off. So the week of the 4th we'll take off. The 4th is on Monday, so we'll take off that whole week. People are going to be on vacations, things like that. That's one of the more popular weeks for stuff like that. So we factored that in. There's also going to be another week where we take off. I think it's around Bristol in real life. So yeah, this is going to take us pretty much to the end of this end of the calendar year. Right before Thanksgiving. So we'll be ending our season just about the same time that NASCAR will be ending theirs.
Pretty neat stuff, and it will still be the standard times that we set from about 2 seasons ago, right?
It will be. There had been discussions about if we were going to change times. I think that there was an overall consensus that if something like that were to have, come to fruition, that we would have needed to discuss it before a free agency type of period. Because a lot of owners and drivers, changed, seats and changed series based off of what they can make. So we didn't feel comfortable with changing the times of the races too much because we really didn't talk about it, with the group. So again, we like transparency. We'd rather have everyone understand what's going on in the league. So that was a big thing for us. So we're going to keep everything the same time as it was the past 2 seasons. Any changes we'll try to discuss with the group before even deciding if we're going to go in that direction or not.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Always been told that. So it seems like the Wednesday, Thursday slots work perfectly for most people. So glad administration kept with that. And I think that's pretty much going to do it. But thank you for joining us. Season 5, it's going to be coming to you starting Wednesday, June 22nd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Daytona Truck Series. You can see us there. Daltor, thank you for joining me up here in the studio. I appreciate it as always.
Awesome, Jim. No problem. Always good to go through this stuff with you. Good to go through it with Jake and everybody else who joins the booth, like Electric, Mayhem, and whoever else may have joined the booth as well.
Yeah, thank you to everybody that joined, and hopefully we can get some more of these controlled chaoses going. I love these to begin with. This one ran a very long time. We're almost about to hit 1 hour and 40 minutes, but I appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out and talking off season with us. We love y'all and can't wait to see you at Daytona.